Here is a line-by-line explanation for beginners of Cambridge IELTS Reading 10 Test 4, Page 2, Second Nature, in simple English. Title: Second Nature. Meaning: a skill or behavior becomes so normal that it feels natural or automatic. Introduction: your personality isn't necessarily set in stone. Meaning: your personality is not fixed forever. With a little experimentation, people can reshape their temperament and inject passion, optimism, joy and courage into their lives. Meaning: if people try new things, they can change how they think and feel. They can add more passion, hope, happiness, and bravery to their lives. Paragraph: psychologists have long held that a person's character cannot undergo transformation in any meaningful way, and that the traits of a person are determined at a very young age. Meaning: psychologists believe that people's personalities cannot really change and that main traits are set when someone is very young. However, research has begun looking more closely at these with change. Meaning: but now scientists are studying how personality can be changed. Positive psychologists have identified 24 qualities we admire, such as loyalty and kindness, and are studying them to find out why they come so naturally to some people. Meaning: some psychologists who study happiness found 24 good personality traits, like kindness. They know why people have these traits. What they're discovering is that many of these qualities amount to habitual behavior that determines the way we respond to the world. Meaning: they found that these qualities are just habits, repeated actions that shape how we act. The good news is that all this can be learned. Meaning: the best part is people can learn these habits. Some qualities are less challenging to develop than others. Optimism being one of them. Meaning: some traits are easier to develop than others. For example, it's easier to become more optimistic, hopeful. However, developing qualities requires mastering a range of skills which are diverse and sometimes surprising. Meaning: but learning these traits needs many different skills, and sometimes unexpected ones. For example, to bring more joy and passion into your life, you must be open to experiencing negative emotions. Meaning: if you want to feel more joy and passion, you have to accept all emotions. Cultivating such qualities help you realize your potential. Meaning: building these traits helps you become the best version of yourself. Paragraph B. The evidence is that most personality traits can be altered, says Christopher Peterson, professor of psychology at the University of Michigan, who cites himself as an example. Meaning: Professor Peterson says that there is strong proof personality can change. He uses himself as an example. Inherently introverted, he realized early on that as an academic, his reticence was disastrous in lecture hall. Meaning: he was shy, but he knew that being quiet would hurt teaching. So he learned to be more outgoing and entertain his classes. Now my extroverted behavior is spontaneous, he says. Meaning: so he practiced being more social and fun while teaching. Now it feels natural to him. Paragraph C. David Baum had to make a similar transition. Meaning: David also had to change. He was preparing for university when he had an accident that put to his sports career. Meaning: he went for college, but an accident stopped him from playing sports on campus. He quickly found that beyond ordinary counseling, the university had services for students who were undergoing physical rehabilitation and suffering from depression like him. Meaning, at college, he saw there was little help for students like him recovering physically and emotionally. He therefore launched a support group to help others in similar situations. Meaning, so he formed a group to support other students facing the same problems. He took action despite his own pain, a typical response of an optimist. Meaning, he acted even when he was suffering. This is something optimistic people often do. Paragraph D. Suzanne Segerstrom, at the University of Kentucky, believes that the key to increasing optimism is through cultivating optimistic behavior, rather than positive thinking. Meaning, Professor Segerstrom says if you want to be more optimistic, you should act like an optimist, not just think happy thoughts. She recommends you train yourself to pay attention to good fortune by writing down 3 positive things that come about each day. Meaning, she advises writing down 3 good things that happen each day. This will help you convince yourself that favorable outcomes actually happen all the time, making it easier to begin taking action. Meaning, this habit helps you believe good things happen often, so you'll feel more ready to act positively. Paragraph E. You can recognize a person who is passionate about a pursuit by the way they are so strongly involved in it. Meaning, you can see someone's passion by how deeply they care about something. Tanya Streeter's passion is freediving, the sport of plunging deep into the water without tanks or other breathing equipment. Meaning, Tanya loves freediving, diving deep into the sea without an oxygen tank. Beginning in 1998, she set 9 world records and can hold her breath for 6 minutes. Meaning, since 1998, she set 9 world records. She can stay underwater for 6 minutes. The physical stamina required for this sport is intense, but the psychological demands are even more overwhelming. Meaning, this sport needs strong physical ability, but it's even harder mentally. Streeter learned to untangle her fears from her judgment of what her body and mind could do. Meaning, she learned to separate fear from what she knew she could actually handle. In my career as a competitive free diver, there was a limit to what I could do, but it wasn't anywhere near what I thought it was, she says. Meaning, she says she had limits, but she could do much more than she first believed. Paragraph F. Finding a pursuit that excites you can improve anyone's life. Meaning, doing something you love can make life better. The secret about consuming passions. Though, according to psychologist Paul Sylvia of the University of North Carolina, is that they require discipline, hard work and ability, which is why they are so rewarding. Single quote. Meaning, psychologist Sylvia says real passion needs hard work, effort, and skill. That's why it feels great. Psychologist Todd Kashdan has this advice for those people taking up a new passion. As a newcomer, you also have to tolerate and laugh at your own ignorance. Meaning, Kashdan says if you're trying something new, you must accept being bad at first, even laugh at your mistakes. You must be willing to accept the negative feelings that come your way. He says, meaning, be ready for bad feelings too, they are part of learning. Paragraph G. In 2004, Physician-scientist Mauro Zapatero began his PhD research at Harvard Medical School. Meaning, in 2004, Zapatero started his PhD at Harvard. Unfortunately, he was miserable as his research wasn't compatible with his curiosity about healing. Meaning, but he was unhappy because his research didn't match what he wanted to learn healing. He finally took a break, and during 8 months in Santa Fe, Zapatero learned about alternative healing techniques not taught at Harvard. Meaning, he took 8 months off and studied other types of healing in Santa Fe. When he got back, he switched labs to study how cerebrospinal fluid nourishes the developing nervous system. Meaning, when he returned, he changed his research to something he liked: how brain fluid helps growth. He also vowed to look for the joy in everything, including failure, as this could help him learn about his research and himself. Meaning, he promised to find joy even in failure, because failure can teach you things. One thing that can hold joy back is a person's concentration on avoiding failure rather than their looking forward to doing something well. Meaning, people feel less joy when they focus too much on avoiding failure instead of enjoying success. Focusing on being safe might get in the way of your reaching your goals. Explains Kashdan. Meaning, Kashdan says playing it safe can stop you from reaching your goals. For example, are you hoping to get through a business lunch without embarrassing yourself? Or are you thinking about how fascinating the conversation might be? Meaning, think about enjoying the moment, not just avoiding mistakes. Paragraph H. Usually, we think of courage in physical terms, but ordinary life demands something else. Meaning, people usually think courage means fighting or doing dangerous things. But everyday life needs a different kind of courage. For marketing executive Kenneth Pedalios, it meant speaking out against something he thought was ethically wrong. Meaning, for Kenneth, courage meant speaking up about something unfair at work. The new manager was intimidating staff, so Pedales carefully recorded each instance of bullying and eventually took the evidence to a senior director, knowing his own job security would be threatened. Meaning, his manager was bullying staff, so he kept records and reported it, even though it was risky for his job. Eventually the manager was the one to go. Meaning, in the end, the manager got fired, not him. According to Cynthia Puri, a psychologist at Clemson University, Pedalios' story proves the point that courage is not motivated by fearlessness, but by moral obligation. Meaning, psychologist Puri says courage doesn't mean no fear, it means doing the right thing. Puri also believes that people can acquire courage. Meaning, she believes people can learn to be brave. Many of her students said that faced with a risky situation, they first tried to calm themselves down, then looked for a way to mitigate the danger, just as Pedales did by documenting his allegations. Meaning, her students said that in risky situations, they first stayed calm and found safe ways to act, like how Kenneth recorded everything. Over the long term, picking up a new character trait may help you move toward being the person you want to be. Meaning, in the long run, learning new traits helps you become your best self. And in the short term, The effort itself could be surprisingly rewarding. A kind of internal adventure. Meaning, even now, the effort feels good, like a personal journey.